Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, April 21st, 2023. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has welcomed the decision handed down yesterday by Justice Paul Webster of the Court of Appeal to grant the government a stay of execution on the judgment handed down last month in the vaccine mandate case by High Court Judge Justice Esco Henry. Last month, High Court Judge Justice Henry ruled that under the government's COVID-19 vaccine mandate, public sector workers who were deemed to have abandoned their jobs for not taking the vaccine never ceased to hold their jobs, and that the mandate was unconstitutional and unlawful, and ordered the government to pay the workers' wages and benefits up to the time they were terminated in December 2022. The government was also ordered to pay punitive damages. The government's legal team filed a notice of appeal and an application for a stay on the execution of the judgment by the High Court judge. The hearing of the application for the stay of the judgment was heard on Tuesday by the Court of Appeal judge, Justice Paul Webster, who ruled in favor of the government's legal team. Speaking on the radio last night, Prime Minister Gonsalves said it is his hope the hearing of the substantial matter in the Court of Appeal can be heard expeditiously.
I heard Tony Astefan emphasize that, and I want to say that it's in the interest of all concerned, the interest of the community, the interest of the state, the interest of the litigants, so that we can get this matter behind us and clarify all the issues which are of great public importance. Of course, as he points out, you have to prepare the record of appeal, and that will take some time. But I'm hopeful that that will be done expeditiously, and the court calendar will permit that the matter be heard as soon as practicable. And it is very interesting how the Court of Appeal formulated their order upon the notice of the application filed by the applicants, seeking a stay of execution of the judgment and order of Justice Esco Henry, which is delivered on the 13th of March. And upon reading all the various affidavits and documents, and upon the court considering all the circumstances of the case, and determining that the applicants have met the threshold for the grant of a stay of execution, it is hereby ordered that the application for a stay of the judgment and order of Justice Esco Henry, delivered on the 13th of March 2023, pending the hearing and determination of the appeal, is granted.
The Prime Minister again urged the public servants who did not take the vaccine to reapply for their jobs.
I want to reassure those teachers and public servants and police and relatively small numbers to say to them that we continue to consider them to be very important part of the future of this country, for them to return to employment in the soonest practicable time. And of course, as we have always said, Carlos, when they return, they would not return with the loss of benefits, that their previous service will be taken into account in respect of their retirement benefits. This has never been about them not coming back to work. And I want them to know that, and I have no bad feelings, no hurt feelings towards them. Of course, I'm disappointed that they did not take the vaccine, and that when the state took the necessary and desirable action to protect the community, that they chose to take an alternative path. But this is a small country, and we have to heal.
And President of the Public Service Union, Elroy Boucher, said the decision by the Court of Appeal on Thursday to grant a stay on the execution of the judgment handed down last month by the High Court in the vaccine mandate case was devastating. Commenting on the ruling on Boom FM today, the PSU president said although they were waiting on it, the decision was not something they were expecting.
So there was a bit of shock, and we know it is going to be devastating for a lot of persons. And immediately upon having receipt of this judgment yesterday, for me, my heart went out to all of those persons that have been suffering for close to 16 months and they were looking forward to this stay of execution not being granted, and therefore some relief coming to them. So it's really wasn't a good day for all of the persons that were suffering, have been suffering, continue to be suffering, or the trade unions. It wasn't. I have not spoken to many of them because, listen, it's when you get a news like this, you're not necessarily going to make a response immediately, because it is gonna take a while for you to adjust to this reality, or what I would say a continuing reality, because your hopes were actually placed on this not being the case. So, it is expected that members would go into a period of quietude, and then after that, I guess we'll have some sort of conversation. So that is really our expectations. Even among the unions, we have not had much conversation on this. Because, like I said, the weight came down yesterday. Because,
Boucher said while he, like many of the affected workers, are hoping for a speedy hearing of the appeal, past cases have proven otherwise.
We have a case. We won a case against the Public Service Commission and the Attorney General in 2018/2019. The government appealed it. There wasn't a stay of execution, but the government appealed it. That appeal has not been heard. That is since, I think that was December of 2019 that judgment was actually handed down.
Yes.
And today, this is 2023.
Yes.
So, if you were to take some direction from that or learn from that time frame, you can see where this is going. So it is not, I don't know, I've heard the Prime Minister have stated, the appeal can be accelerated, but that's just talk for me. I don't have much faith in that. These appeals are normally drawn out. It is in the Caribbean, in Eastern Caribbean, cases don't move that fast. These things don't move fast. It's like a snail's pace.
Yes.
Regardless of who is suffering. Those are the realities. And those realities are not necessarily going to change.
Yes.
So that is why when you look at it, even though you are confident that in the end the ruling is going to be in your favor still. But remember, the Prime Minister said he's going to the Privy
You're confident that you will win at the appeal?
Even as a layman looking at this judgment, even as certain parts of it is struck down, there's some basic things that I cannot see being overturned.
The PSU president said he thinks the matter will be going into the next general election, which is constitutionally due in 2025. And if he does, he hopes it will be a referendum on the Unity Labour Party.
If this was a matter of you against me, or two persons, it's a whole different kettle of fish,
Yes.
You can understand that, but it is not that. It is a matter of the state against its very own people. So, for example, I said, legally it's a right to appeal, but morally, they shouldn't have appeal.
Yes.
The moral aspects of this, people suffering, your own people suffering, the people that you govern, they're suffering, their financial ruin, the problem on the children who perhaps have to go off to study and can't. I know of persons whose mortgages on the line. Banks were waiting. Now this is going to stretch a little far. I don't know what is going to happen. The ability to take care of themselves.
Yes.
And I say like this. If you have, even the persons have gone back to work, if you take a minimum of 300 persons affected who lost income and had difficulty meeting their obligations financially,
Yes.
multiply that by 10 in terms of their extended family and the immediate family.
Yes.
We're talking about something like 3,000 persons, right?
Yes.
I mean, these are 3,000 plus voters. These are all voters. You understand?
Yeah.
And that is good. That must have an impact.
Yes.
And this is the potentially the number of persons and beyond that. I mean, I'm talking 300 because we have heard about more than that were fired initially.
Yeah.
And these people are going to suffer.
The Dr. Ralph Gonsalves government will maintain its diplomatic relationship with the Republic of China on Taiwan. This was reiterated by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves at a news conference yesterday at Cabinet Room. PM Gonsalves said the opposition New Democratic Party aim is to end SVG's diplomatic relationship with Taiwan and establish a new relationship with China if voted into office.
A little something about the debate which has been taking place in this country, the relations, whether we should maintain relations with Taiwan, as in fact the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has committed itself to, and we have deepened those relations over the last 22 years. And it is signaled by the fact that I have made 12 visits, official visits to Taiwan, and Taiwan is a major partner for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we have evolved with people-to-people relations as a family, our students, our farmers, and that is there for everybody to see. And the NDP has said that its policy is to ditch Taiwan and to hitch its political bandwagon to mainland China. Now, that decision of theirs is very unpopular among the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So because it is unpopular, they will seek to have diversions and confusions and falsehoods and take it away from what is the main issue. Are you going to stay with Taiwan, or are you going to move to mainland China?
In a recent interview with the Searchlight newspaper, leader of the NDP, Dr. Godwin Friday, was asked whether the party will sever ties with Taiwan in favor of the People's Republic of China should the NDP form government at the next general elections. In his response, Dr. Friday said the party will take that decision when the time comes, noting that they will look for the best interests of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and international relations, especially as it relates to those two countries. The NDP leader said the election is not a reason for adopting a position. Their position will be based on principle. In other news now, we hear that a fire destroyed a 6-bedroom wall structure home in the community of Belaire today. A family home which is owned by the Cumberbatch, who were not at home when the fire started. According to reports, the fire department of the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force responded and was able to save the home from burning to the ground. The cause of the fire is not known at this time. The Cumberbatch family is seeking any assistance possible from the public. The family can be contacted by telephone number 454-4604 or 497-9051. Now we hear that a Skillful Youth Employment in the Caribbean presentation and appreciation ceremony was held here today at the Methodist Church Hall in capital Kingstown. At the ceremony, several persons receive awards and the facilitators of the training receive token of appreciation. The Skillful Youth Employment in the Caribbean is a 4-year technical vocational education and training TVET program. Its purpose is to develop a better skilled, more productive and inclusive workforce in 4 Eastern Caribbean countries, namely St. Lucia, Grenada, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Given a brief overview of the training, Director of the National Qualification Division, Endel Johnson, said over 30 different skilled areas were taught.
We would have signed a contract with Sky in 2019, but we never actually started the training until 2020 January. Reasons being, we had a new program which was sponsored by the Caribbean Development Bank, that was finishing up during the time, and also we had some other issues on hand. So we actually commenced the training in 2020. We were given a target of 990 students to train and certify within a period of 3 years. However, midway in our training, we were granted an additional total of 150, making it 1,140 candidates. Our budget was just over $2.3 million, Eastern Caribbean dollars, that is. We have trained persons in approximately 30 different skilled areas. And our training providers, as Rosie said, extended from the 4 technical institutes to other private training providers.
Johnson also outlined the challenges that the students in the training program encountered during the program, which will end in July this year.
2021, with the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano. Well, you would have thought that this is enough to put the nail in our coffin, to put a halt on training in St. Vincent, but that wasn't the case. We persevered. We are a resilient people. So we went back to the drawing board and we re-strategize, reorganize, and we come again. We continue training, and a letter was sent to the Chief Education Officer asking for us to go back to face-to-face training. That permission was granted. And it was like we mount an attack to ensure that our at-risk youths in St. Vincent and the Grenadines receive the training and the capacity building that they need to earn for themselves and putting them in a better position to provide for themselves and their family. And we continue with our training. With all of these happening simultaneously,
And Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Michael Burke, said that the Skill for Youth Employment in the Caribbean presentation and appreciation ceremony today represents resilience and perseverance on the road to success.
Persons who are gathered here represent the embodiment of that perseverance, of that resilience, and today you would receive your rewards. Despite all that surrounded us, that encamped us, that threatened the very existence of a country, we persevered. COVID didn't stop us. An explosive volcanic eruption didn't stop us. Dengue didn't stop us. We are here today, we are standing, and we are standing even taller. And we must express our gratitude to UK Aid, because you played a very important role in our ability to stand today. So this program targeted in excess of 1,000 youths between the ages of 15 to 30 years. And we heard that an overwhelming majority of these persons are now gainfully employed. So we have to commend all those processes involved. And I would say that SSD, we should change the acronym, because we heard so many magnificent things about SSDA, so we should change the acronym to Super Service Delivery Association.
Vincentian teacher Verlene Craig, who is on a one-year contract teaching experience in Taiwan to teach English language to Taiwanese students, says thus far the experience has been memorable, noting that she continued to enjoy sightseeing and indulge in the Taiwanese culture and food. Craig, who commenced her teaching experience in Taiwan last year, was on the API's Morning SVG program discussing her experience in Taiwan via the Zoom platform. Noting that she has been assigned to 3 schools in a remote area, Craig said as a foreign language teacher from time to time it is challenging, however she is embracing the challenge.
Thing is that we only, as foreign English teachers, we only see our students once per week. And we know that in order to acquire knowledge, you have to You have to be immersed in it more often. They do have local English teachers. So when I see a class once per week, the local teacher would see them once or twice. But it's not the same because they still have that Chinese, Mandarin sounding way that they speak English compared to how we speak English. So it is a little difficult at times because when you want to give feedback, you can only see the child. If I see a class today Friday, then I see them next Friday again. So that time in between, sometimes the children tend to forget or something, so you have to do a lot of reviewing. But the children are very enthusiastic about it. The teachers as well are very enthusiastic about it. The teachers look forward to my feedback when they're doing anything with regards to English, with helping the children to prepare for competitions, for things like that. They depend on the foreign English teachers to assist with those things. So they are very enthusiastic about the English language. So I think that they will reach a good way by 2030.
The foreign language teacher is encouraging other teachers in SVG who feel the need to experience different culture to travel to Taiwan, noting that the experience can help mold you into a better teacher. And 1 year and 8 months after obtaining a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, sum cum laude from the Monroe College, St. Lucia campus, Police Constable 933 Elroy Kwame now holds a Master's of Science degree in forensic psychology from the same academic institution. Constable Kwame expresses joy at having reached such a significant milestone while pointing out that it was not a simple task. PC Kwame studied online, which in most cases presented its own set of difficulties. But despite these difficulties, he said he persisted and kept his focus. When asked why he decided to pursue his studies in this discipline, PC Kwame responded that he had always been interested in doing so ever since he first learned about psychology at the SVG Community College. On a recent appearance on the API's Morning SVG program, Constable Kwame said he hopes to use what he has been taught in forensic psychology to assist the RSVG police force with its crime-fighting strategy.
And to use the skills that I've developed in helping and assisting the victims that we have to deal with on a regular basis. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to lend that support and that expertise to general policing per se. And it's really not just about the victims, it can also be police officers, because we are sometimes we have to share the trauma that we have to deal with our victims, and doing that over a period of time, it can affect us personally. So having persons who are specialized in this area can also assist in helping and assisting police officers, which can also improve the quality of service that we provide.
A news release from the Police Public Relations Department said the Commissioner of Police Colin John and other ranks of the RSVG Police Force congratulates Constable Kwame on his academic achievements and wish him the best in his future endeavors.